Most of people are upset, shocked, and there are some anti-American voices now. But the main result is that actually the support for Zelensky went up again. And I mean, like before the statement by Trump that Zelensky is a dictator, his support went from 50 to 57%, and probably today it's about 65%. One more effect is that people are giving more money, more donations for the army from yesterday.
Well, it was hard to watch that choreographed thuggery in the Oval Office without feeling, with a kind of sickening gloom, that something fundamental has changed in what we call the free world, and for much the worse. The notion, for example, that democratic countries were possessed of a certain morality in the way in which they conducted their affairs, even if that morality was sometimes compromised or even sacrificed on occasion out of expedience. Freedom, we believed, was something to be cherished, no matter how impoverished or tiny the nation, and that Western Europe and the USA would always be united in their support for democracies when they were threatened with tyranny or totalitarianism. The events of Friday rather shattered that illusion. The USA seemingly no longer wishes to hold truth to power. Power instead is the new truth, and the weak are of no account. In a moment, you'll hear analysis from Lord Owen, but first, Andrey Kurkov, a celebrated Ukrainian novelist and intellectual, who joins me from Kyiv. Andrey, how did the affairs of yesterday afternoon go down in the capital?
Well, not very well, of course. I mean, most of people are upset, shocked, and there are some anti-American voices now. But the main result is that actually the support for Zelensky went up again. And I mean, like before the statement by Trump that Zelensky is a dictator, his support went from 50 to 57%, and probably today it's about 65%. One more effect is that people are giving more money, more donations for the army from yesterday.
What's the feeling that Trump is trying to do? Is it seen in Ukraine as simply being an animosity between Trump and Zelensky? Or do Ukrainians believe that there is a different game being played here?
I think there were some doubts among Ukrainians after Trump was elected. So some people were saying that he will forget, he will abandon Ukraine. The others were saying that he is a shrewd businessman, he will find a common language with Putin in order to stop the war. So, I mean, now it's more obvious that actually that Ukraine is of no interest to the United States, and that Trump didn't want to include actually Ukraine in the Ukrainian presence in the negotiations with Putin. He said that actually Ukraine is not needed at the negotiations table. And now it's clear that the only and the last remaining hope of Ukrainians is European Union. I'm not talking, of course, and Great Britain and Canada and some other countries who are helping, but the main partner is now European Union.
Except, of course, the main partner before was the USA, and that's where the money came from, which bankrolled the first couple of years of Ukraine's fight back against the invasion. Can Ukraine continue, do you think, if that money is suddenly withdrawn?
Well, for some time, yes, but not for a long time. And obviously, I mean, if America is actively out of this war, I am not sure that Europe will last long as the main partner of Ukraine without American support.
The other problem, of course, you look to Europe for support, and perhaps the United Kingdom as a bridge between Europe and the USA. But there is a growing feeling in Europe too, as we saw in the recent German elections, a growing feeling that this war ought to be ended, and without much more money being given. The rise of the right-wing parties in Europe, and of course countries such as Hungary, governed by Viktor Orban, which, though not allies of Moscow, are nonetheless more sympathetic to Moscow than they are to Kiev. Is that a worry at all for you?
It is a serious worry. It is a serious problem, and I agree. I mean, the Ukrainian-Russian war became an internal issue in the politics of different countries. So, I mean, you have actually sort of anti-Ukrainian aid politicians fighting against pro-Ukrainian aid politicians instead of conservatives fighting against Democrats. So you have in every country a force which is either supporting Russia or supported by Russia, and which is representing the same actually point of view that is. I mean, this is the point of view also of Trump, that we should concentrate on our internal affairs. We should save our economy and not trying to help the others, help Ukraine.
You say that President Zelensky's opinion poll ratings actually rose as a consequence of that scene in the Oval Office, but there is a case for saying, isn't there, that he has made missteps, and the obvious misstep, and which was brought up during that Oval Office fracas, was the fact that, you know, a month before the United States presidential election, Zelensky was out in, I think it was Pennsylvania, campaigning for the sitting President Joe Biden. Who advised him to do that? And looking back on it now, wasn't that an incredibly maladroit step?
Well, I mean, it was a huge mistake, and I'm sure there were mistakes also last evening. And actually, I mean, just stopping American president talking when you are actually invited to the Oval Cabinet and you are his guest, it's not polite, at least. But generally, still, I mean, Ukrainians are now more supporting his presidents than before. Although, I mean, there are voices about his mistakes and his not correct behavior. And the other issue is also is that if you are coming to the country, so obviously you are prepared to sign the deal. The Speaker of Ukrainian Parliament, Stefanchuk, said yesterday that there are some additional clauses which guarantee Ukrainian security. So, I mean, Ukrainians were quite sure that the deal will be done, and it has something in the text that will protect Ukraine from continuation of the Russian aggression.
Andrey Kurkov, thank you very much, and our best wishes go with you and your people.